It sounds like the monarchy will be shifting in a slightly different direction.
I think it's safe to say that change is on my agenda. Change for good. And I embrace that and I enjoy that change. I don't fear it.
Have you seen what's been spreading across royal corners of the internet over the last few days? Because a story is moving fast right now, and if even a fraction of it is true, it would be one of the strangest power struggles the modern monarchy has ever seen. The whisper goes like this: a priceless state brooch, a private home it allegedly should never have ended up in, and Prince William reportedly doing something nobody expected him to do, quietly overruling an arrangement said to carry the Queen's own blessing. Now, before anyone panics, none of this has been confirmed by the palace, but the speculation is everywhere, and the details are so specific that people can't stop talking about them. So let's actually walk through what's being claimed piece by piece, because the way this rumor is built is honestly fascinating. What part of it holds up? Stay with me, because the deeper you go, the messier it gets. It starts with a real object, and that's part of why the story has legs. Back in 2017, the Governor-General of Canada presented Queen Elizabeth II with the Sapphire Jubilee Snowflake Brooch, a genuinely stunning piece made with rare sapphires sourced from Baffin Island, created to mark 65 years on the throne. That brooch is real. You can look it up. And here's the detail that matters most. A state gift like that isn't personal property you can hand out to whoever you like. It belongs to the crown. It's meant to sit inside the royal collection, protected, catalogued, and passed down through the institution itself. That's not opinion, that's simply how diplomatic gifts work. So keep that in your mind, because the entire rumor hinges on it. What happens when something that's supposed to belong to everyone allegedly ends up belonging to one person? The story claims the opening came in 2022. When Queen Elizabeth passed, the palace entered a massive period of transition, tens of thousands of items being recatalogued, moved between residences, reorganized across the entire royal estate. And according to the chatter online, somewhere inside that chaos, a tracking gap appeared, a window where supposedly not everything was being logged the way it should have been. Now, is there proof of that? No. This is where the rumor stops being verifiable and starts being pure speculation. But the people pushing the narrative insist that gap is exactly what created the opportunity. An opportunity for who, though? That's where it takes a sharp turn. Because the next claim is the bold one. The rumor alleges that Camilla's sister, a private citizen, no title, no royal role, no official function whatsoever, somehow gained access to the brooch during that transition and brought it into her own home, where it allegedly stayed for months. And here's why that part spread so fast. If nobody was tracking it properly, the story goes, nobody noticed it was missing. It's a clean little narrative, isn't it? Too clean, some would say. But supposedly an independent audit of the state collection eventually flagged a discrepancy. The brooch wasn't where it should be, and there was no paperwork explaining why. No signed transfer, no authorization, nothing. Now remember, this is all alleged. The palace has said nothing. But if you were Camilla in this version of events, and you suddenly realized your sister might be staring down a legal problem with no easy way out, what would you do? Because what the rumor claims she did next is the part that turned a quiet whisper into a full-blown firestorm. This is where I'd ask you to keep your skepticism switched on, because the claim gets dramatic. The story alleges that while the king was recovering from his health issues, which was a real and publicly known period, Camilla supposedly arranged for documents to be drawn up in his name. A so-called protective directive, the rumor calls it, framed as the king personally gifting the brooch to her sister. And if that were real, it would change everything on paper. A theft becomes a gift, an investigation evaporates. No warrants, no questions, no consequences. The whole thing supposedly relying on the idea that you simply don't challenge an order carrying the monarch's authority, especially not while he's unwell. It's a clever theory, you have to admit. But there's a reason this remains firmly in rumor territory. There's no evidence any such document ever existed. So why has it caught fire anyway? Because of who allegedly refused to play along. Enter Princess Anne. And honestly, this is the part of the story that makes people believe the rest, because it fits everything we know about her. As the figure long associated with safeguarding royal heritage, Anne is the kind of person who, in this telling, looks at a questionable directive and simply says no, flat out. The rumor claims she rejected it on the spot, arguing that the brooch was never personal property to begin with, and that no individual, no matter how close to the throne, gets to treat a national diplomatic gift like a trinket to be handed around. She didn't soften it, the story goes. She didn't look for a polite compromise. She allegedly gathered every record, every provenance document, everything that supposedly proved the brooch's true status, and she carried it straight to one person. And once it reached him, the rumor says there was no putting it back in the box. Who did she take it to? You already know. Prince William. According to the speculation, the moment that evidence landed at Kensington Palace, the entire situation shifted. Because here's the thing people keep repeating, William's whole purpose is protecting the institution and making sure it survives. So when faced with an alleged attempt to redirect state property using the king's name during a vulnerable moment, the old playbook, handle it quietly, protect the family name, make it disappear, supposedly went straight out the window. The rumor claims William treated it as exactly what it would be if true, a straightforward legal matter, not a family squabble to be smoothed over behind closed doors. And that's a genuinely striking idea, isn't it? The heir reportedly deciding that connection to the crown buys you nothing when the rules are on the line. But what could he actually do about it? That's where the story gets clever. The mechanism the rumor describes is almost surgical. Rather than fighting Camilla directly, William supposedly created something new, an independent structure the speculation calls the Royal Heritage Trust, designed to lock the most significant historical pieces to the direct line of succession. The whole point, the story claims, was to build a wall that no reigning monarch or spouse could ever reach over. No more favors, no more quiet redirections. And the moment that trust was allegedly established, around the 10th of June 2026, any prior directive issued in the king's name supposedly lost all its standing. Those protective documents Camilla was said to be relying on, useless overnight, according to the rumor. Now, I want to be honest with you, there's no public record of a Royal Heritage Trust being created. This is the part that smells the most like invention, but the storytellers swear by it, and they save the most cinematic claim for last. Because the rumor doesn't end with paperwork, it ends with a recovery. The story alleges that on the morning of the 10th, enforcement measures were activated and the brooch was retrieved and returned to where it supposedly belonged, swiftly, with no negotiation, no last-minute deal, no compromise. And then the claim goes, the palace press office fell completely silent. No statements, no spin, no explanations. And the people spreading this insist that silence was the loudest part of all, because you don't explain a thing you want forgotten, you simply let it speak for itself. Is any of that confirmed? No, not one word of it from any official source. So why does it feel so believable to so many people? Because of what allegedly happened in public next. This is the detail that sent the whole thing viral. Shortly after, Catherine, the Princess of Wales, was reportedly seen wearing a Sapphire Jubilee brooch at an official engagement, pinned to her attire in front of cameras and dignitaries, with no announcement and no explanation whatsoever. And in the rumors telling, that single image said everything words couldn't. The piece was back. It belonged to the future of the institution. It was sitting exactly where the next generation wanted it to sit. The contrast people drew was sharp. Catherine in the historic piece tied to Elizabeth's legacy, Camilla in selections from her own collection, and a quiet message about who carries the symbols of the crown going forward. Now royals rewear jewelry constantly, and there are 100 innocent reasons for any brooch choice, but you can see why the internet ran with it, can't you? A single accessory became the supposed exclamation point on an entire power struggle. So step back with me for a second, because here's what's really going on. Whether or not a single piece of this is true, and so much of it remains pure, unverified speculation, the reason the story exploded is that it taps into something people genuinely wonder about. Does the modern monarchy actually run on rules, or does proximity to the throne still buy you protection? The rumor offers a fantasy of accountability. An heir who supposedly chooses integrity over family loyalty, a princess who refuses to bend, a system that allegedly closes the loophole instead of using it. That's a compelling story precisely because it's the story people want to be true. And that's exactly why you should hold it at arm's length until the palace or any credible source actually confirms a word of it. Right now, nobody has. So the question isn't really what William did. The question is why so many of us were so quick to believe he did it.